Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jets, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight. White, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win.
What is up, YouTube? You can't see me. Here I am now. What is going on, YouTube? Long time no talk. It's been about 2 weeks. I've been on the road. No, I'm not a celebrity or anything, but I've been back on the road, and I'm acting really weird right now because I'm so damn amped up that Aaron Rodgers is officially a New York freaking Jet. Yeah, that's right. Aaron Rodgers was officially traded on Monday. So for a lot, we're going to talk about it and we're going to break it down. You see it in the bottom, Jet Fuel Podcast, episode 1. This is it. Episode 1. It's going to be not just a one topic video. We're going to get into a little bit of everything. The NFL draft is tomorrow, and I feel like we really haven't talked about it. I personally haven't even done much research, but I will be doing a live mock draft on a mock draft simulator, sharing my screen at the very end to just end things off of this podcast. But we're going to break down all things Aaron Rodgers, as well as let's just start with Elijah Moore getting traded. That's how far back I haven't been, creating videos here because I've been on the road the last 2 weeks. But Aaron Rodgers is on my mind. But Elijah Moore traded for that second round draft pick that comes in handy now because that's the only Jets second round draft pick for a third rounder in Elijah Moore. That was right after Mecole Hardman signed a team friendly 1-year deal. I mean, now that I'm talking about it, the move makes sense because Elijah Moore wanted to get traded, right? And I knew he kind of embraced being a Jet after that. He ended up being a good teammate. I was sad to see him go, but it makes sense for the Jets. In a trade standpoint, you got Mecole Hardman. I think Corey Davis is going to be a Jet. We all didn't think so, but it's just a reality now, along with Lazard and Garrett Wilson. You got a solid room of 4. They might add another receiver tomorrow. I hear Jackson Smith-Njigba's name, but there's no shot in hell he's going to be there at 15. But I'll rant about the draft when I get there. But it makes sense because then you go and you get Aaron Rodgers on Monday, a quick Elijah Moore Hardman, because that seems ages ago. Let's just get into it, right? Let's just talk about Aaron Rodgers. He had his introductory press conference today at 2:00 Eastern time. He looked happy, he looked confident, and he looked ready to go. He's going to be at the facility tomorrow to already start practicing on these voluntary workouts. So that is great to see. And he just seems eager to get in the building. But the trade on Monday finally went down. They didn't have talks for weeks, and then Rappaport reported on Sunday that their talks have resumed over the weekend after they really just couldn't make ends meet at one point, a few weeks off. They had to get it done before the draft, preferably a few days before, because of the complications with Aaron Rodgers' contract. He had to take a physical, blah, blah, blah. He had to be officially a Jet before having this go down because they're swapping picks, and that's right. So the Green Bay Packers received the New York Jets' 13th overall pick in 2023. So tomorrow, their first second round pick of 2023. So their original second round pick, but the pick after they will be drafting anyway, because that is the pick they got from the Cleveland Browns for Elijah Moore. And then also this year's 6th round pick. And then this is when it gets tricky, or not tricky, but people are like, yeah, did they get fleeced? I don't think so, but a conditional second round next year in 2024 that could turn into a first rounder if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of snaps. We're going to think that happens. Jets fans hope they're giving up a first rounder, because if he doesn't play 65% of snaps, that either means he got injured or it was a complete disaster and the trade is up in flames anyway. So that's what it's going to look like. In the New York Jets in return, of course, gets the 4-time MVP Super Bowl champion Aaron Rodgers. They get the Green Bay Packers 15th overall pick, so they only move back 2 spots in the 2023 draft, as well as a 5th round pick in this year's 2023 draft. So they move about 37 spots from the 6th to the 5th spot. I mean, yeah, you say 5th round pick, whatever, but still a pretty solid move up for the Jets. Personally, I know a lot of people are saying, wow, they got fleeced, or wow, the Packers got fleeced. So my opinion is, if both teams got fleeced, that means it was a good trade for both sides. You view it on the Packers end first. I think they had to do it. Aaron Rodgers didn't want to be there anymore, and they didn't want him to be there. They had Jordan Love. They traded into the first round to get this guy in the 2020 draft, and they got heat for it. Rodgers wins 2 MVPs. It sets back because they had no idea that he was going to win 2 MVPs, and he had that much left in the tank, but that was the reality. They're moving on with their young guy. They get a first-round pick. They technically, they didn't get 2 first-round picks, right? They swapped it. Everyone's saying, oh, they got 2 no, they didn't get 2 first-round picks. Essentially, yes, but they already had that first-round pick. They gained 1 first-round pick. Technically, that's if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of snaps, and help me God, I hope he does, because we're going to be in big trouble if he doesn't. So, it makes sense. They get that second rounder, so now they add another guy. They have multiple picks in the second round, and then they go add a 6th round. Pretty irrelevant, but they got what they want. They got the 13th pick. They wanted it, even though they wanted the 13th and the 15th. That was never going to happen, but they got the 13th pick, so they were able to move up 2 spots and get a conditional pick that could turn into a first rounder. The Jets got no security if Aaron Rodgers only plays 1 year. I think that was the holdup. They wanted an additional 2025 pick. That is just allegedly a rumor. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but I think that's really what the Jets wanted, and that would make sense because they want something back, some type of compensation if it goes one and done, but that is not the reality. The Jets do not get that type of pick. And on the Jets side, they get their guy, right? It's been 30 plus days since McAfee's show that Rodgers gone on and told him that, his intention was playing for the New York Jets. And I believe that was like my last video here. Because then everything, I think maybe next week Hardman and Moore signed, and then there was nothing for weeks, literally nothing. Maybe you miss out on OBJ. That was like the biggest news around the Jets camp. And if Calais Campbell, missing him too. But other than that, everything's been stale. So anyway, the Jets get their guy in Aaron Rodgers, and they still have the 15th overall pick. They move back 2 spots. They must be confident that the guy on their radar, they're going to be able to get. And they must have a few guys on their radar that they're confident in with the 15th overall pick. That's still a good pick. They got a top 15 value. You move back 2 spots. And essentially, they probably didn't have a no-doubter guy that they wanted. I don't know if that was the holdup of the trade, or is the conditional second turns into first of next year, or was it that they didn't get anything back? I don't know what the heck was the holdup, but they still get a 15th overall pick, and they still have a first round pick, and they still have a second round pick. That's why they go and make that move for Elijah Moore. I think they're confident in the 4 receivers that they have, and maybe they have something up their sleeves in terms of drafting a wide receiver tomorrow. And then you go move up, like I mentioned, 37 spots from 6 to 5. It's not a huge move, but in a guy like Joe Douglas, who was drafted relatively well, at least the last 2 drafts besides the Zach Wilson pick, I'm pretty confident that he can make a move there. So the Jets do not have a pick in every round now, but they shake things up. Rodgers is a New York Jet. The Jets get their guy. They get their quarterback, and now they can be a contender. They can compete for the AFC East and maybe beyond that. And I'm not even going to mention the S word because that's a little too extreme for me right now. But anyway, they're a contender. In a strong AFC, they are up there now, and people are going to be, analysts, the smartest people around who speak about football for a living are going to be hyping up the New York Jets. I do not think actually, this is what I'm going to say. It could be Denver. It could be Tampa Bay, right? It could be Wilson in Denver. It could be Brady in Tampa Bay or Stafford in LA. And I think those are the expectations for this. I don't really have a prediction what this is going to be right now because it's only April, but the Jets get their guy and the Packers get their compensation, and we can stop talking whether the trade's going to happen and what is going on. What is the holdup? I was the happiest man on earth on Monday when it's just a random day, right? I kind of expected a little after the McAfee show, not just on a random Monday. He was just going to be, hey, this trade happened. Adam Schefter. Good for Adam Schefter. I believe he was the first guy that reported it. He did lose probably Rodgers' number along the way, but he got his report that he was desperately wanted over the last 30 plus days. So I'm excited. I think this move is well worth it for the Jets. And it's hard to say that they gave up too much. I just don't think that's the reality. A price tag for a quarterback is unlimited. So fleeced, I think that's crazy. Yes, he's 39, but the value itself of a quarterback. The Jets have not had a competent quarterback in so very long. They have not. This is a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and perhaps a top 7, I would say maybe a top 7 quarterback of all time. That's just a random number, but one of the best quarterbacks of all time. And probably the second or third best quarterback in the last 24, 25 years. You know, you can probably go Brady, Manning, Rodgers are probably the 3 best. And obviously Mahomes is entering that chat very quickly. He might be very well at the top of that right now, but he's been one of the most consistent, one of the best quarterbacks ever. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for a franchise to get a guy as valuable as Aaron Rodgers. Listen, this is not like they just added somebody, the quarterback, and then they have to add weapons around him. They finally have a competent roster. Joe Douglas has knocked it out of the park with the drafts. I mean, heck, he just drafted the offense and defensive rookie of the year. He had multiple All-Pros. This is a young team. Breece Hall probably would have won Offensive Rookie of the Year over his teammate Garrett Wilson if he had played the rest of the year. The dude was averaging 6 yards a carry through 7 weeks. Just absolutely absurd what he was doing. Looked like a legitimate bona fide superstar, and I think he will be when he gets back healthy. This is a good young team. They had some nice sneaky signs. I mean, TJ Reed, what a find. I don't know. It's just a diamond in the rough type of deal for the Jets to get a guy like that as well. So the Jets are actually a competent team. They have some holes. Yeah. Offensive line. I think they'll address that tomorrow night, maybe. And that's really about it. Maybe you could add a safety, but the Jets are in another receiver too. I think you can never lack weapons, but they're in a position to just do it. Go all in. Look at what Tampa Bay did. Right? Tampa Bay, I think, won about 7 games the year before when Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions. And they add Brady and they win the Super Bowl. Same goes, the Rams a little different because they went to the Super Bowl with Goff, but they got the clear upgrade. They win the Super Bowl. So you're seeing this type of move the last few years, and I'm not even going to worry about the Russell Wilson thing or the ties with Hackett. This is the move you had to make. Who else would have you gotten? I cannot speak. Derek Carr, maybe, yeah, he would have been a more long-term option, but this indicates that the Jets think they can do it. They have the roster. I believe they can be an easy contender, and they had to do this trade. Unlimited price tag. There is no price tag for a guy like Aaron Rodgers, and I don't care about his age, blah, blah, blah. I just believe the value of draft picks are so overrated in a sense. Like, yeah, they're pretty heavily valuable, like for the Jets in terms of having a GM like Joe Douglas, because he has relatively drafted well, of course, most notably last season. But we don't know what those guys are going to turn into, right? Down the line. I mean, for that first round pick next year, it shouldn't be a good pick. It shouldn't. It should be 22 plus at least. So I'm not losing sleep over that. I think the Jets had to do this move, and I think it's a great move for them. Yeah, they had to give up what they had to give up. They got Aaron Rodgers. They literally got Aaron Rodgers, people. What else are we going to do? So I'm glad the introductory press conference went pretty smooth. I think he's going to handle the media fine. I think that's so overblown in the New York media. It maybe for me, because I follow all these reporters online. They're just normal guys. They're just doing their job. Yeah, I think it's more the market, like being in New York rather than like the reporters. The reporters aren't going to fleece him. Aaron Rodgers had great answers to some maybe difficult questions, and he just seemed so happy to be there. And he's eager to get into the room to meet his teammates. I loved all of his answers. I just loved his genuine happiness. It was so genuine, right? You could tell that he was very excited for this next chapter of his career. You could tell Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, Woody Johnson. It was Christmas Day at Florham Park today, and everything went pretty smooth for the Jets and their media day, introducing their new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who will wear the number 8. Pretty cool. He wants to just give Joe Namath number 12. That is his number, and give him his props that he's the only number 12 that the Jets could ever have in their organization. I think it's a pretty classy move. He's going to number 8, where he in which he wore in college at California. So he's ready to go. A-Rod 8. A-Rod 8. So I'm going to, I guess, get into this mock draft thing. There's not much more I could talk about Rodgers other than I thought it was a great trade. I thought the introductory conference was great. Rodgers said that the Lombardi Trophy was getting lonely. And that's the thing. So many people were saying that Aaron Rodgers only cares about MVPs, not Super Bowls. Again, that was another overblown thing. He was talking all about a championship and doing something special. Not that he was going to win another MVP. With that thing with Gronk, that was so overblown. It was no context. He was basically saying like, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers, that's all he said was he just wants to win MVP. No, dude, listen to the whole interview, and B, you can tell that Aaron Rodgers is eager for a championship because that's going to just impact his legacy. Imagine if he wins in New York with the New York Jets. Are you kidding me? That would be insane. That would be insane for his legacy. So Aaron Rodgers, I'll say it again, is a New York freaking Jet. The Jets are going to have plenty of primetime games, I would expect. It's a surreal day. It's a surreal week to be a Jets fan. I mean, the shit that we had put up with over the years, the 12-year playoff drought, no Super Bowl appearance or win since 1969, back-to-back AFC championship losses, the butt fumble, even that game in 2015, losing to the Bills and Rex Ryan, the flops of drafting quarterbacks, Darnold and Zach Wilson. It's been pure misery. So this doesn't feel real. When Aaron Rodgers was walking into the building, greeting everyone greeting him with a New York Jets sweatshirt on, that didn't feel real. So it's a great day. It is a great day to be a Jets fan, and we don't get to say that very often. But the mock draft, I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me. I have never done this before, so I hope that you can actually see my screen. And we're going to get right into this. To be honest, I haven't done much research here. I know a fair share of talent, but not like I used to because I've just been so obsessed with Aaron Rodgers and if this trade is ever going to happen. So I'm going to share my screen here. We're going to get into it. Mock draft Wednesday, the eve before the draft. And let's see if this works. All right, this is not working, is it? I tried this 4 times before we got on here, and I did nail it, but now I'm just choking when I actually do it. I knew that was going to happen. Just bear with me. All right. Yeah, I see it now. All right, here we go. I got it. Let's get into it. 7 rounds. We're going to do a fast one here. I was going to do the PFF one, but they wanted me to pay to go after the 3rd round, and we're not going to do that. New York Jets, 7th round, 7 rounds, and they already have the updated picks. I guess let's just break it down here what we got. So we already got an offer. I do not want to trade at all. 15th. That's actually not a bad trade, but I just feel like this is not a realistic thing. So we're gonna reject that. We're gonna kind of I didn't even look at that Saints trade. Whatever. We're drafting 15. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Tyree Wilson. So wow, the Colts moved up to draft a defender. That doesn't make any sense. Will Levis 5th, Bijan Robinson 6th. Whoa. So it looks like Anthony Richardson is still on the he's at Tampa Bay. Whoa, that is quite weird. All right. So I know everyone's gonna want Jackson Smith-Njigba here, the popular pick. I know it's been a rumor coming out. It looks like almost all of Broderick Jones went really early. Gronkowski, Paris Johnson. So Darnell Wright is the best guy there. And I honestly think if this is the situation that happens, I think the Jets would draft Jackson Smith-Njigba here. I really do. I want to go offensive tackle, but I don't see the Jets passing up on Njigba here. I don't think he's even going to sniff the 15th overall, but I guess I'll take him because I feel like that's what the Jets would do. Even though Wright is a solid. Hey, look who just hit us up here. The Green Bay Packers. I'm not accepting any trades. That is hilarious. A lot of trades here. So now I think this is when you get an offensive tackle. Their offensive line is still very meh. I think Steve Avila is a good player. I think if you go get him, you're probably moving AVT to tackle, which I just don't think that is realistic. It could be realistic. I have no idea. But Avila has been a guy that we'll take a look at him. Avila, 6'3", 332. He's a very athletic lineman for his size, rather. 8.49 rating. They have a video on him. Steve Avila. All right. I think that is probably copyright right there. So I apologize, YouTube. I thought it was going to be on the website, not on actual YouTube. Whatever. Sorry for the copyright there. So Steve Avila, I think this is a guy who's been highly touted in a lot of Jets mock drafts. I guess we'll take him. They need a lineman if they're going to go Njigba. I also think the Jets could trade up here if they got a guy like Njigba at 15. Again, I don't see that being realistic. I should have taken Wright to be a little more realistic on that part. I want to see where he went. He went 19 to the Titans. Alrighty, so now we're in the 4th round because obviously the Jets do not have a 3rd rounder because they traded that to the Cleveland Browns for Elijah Moore. So it was a 3rd and more, of course, like I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look. So running backs up the wazoo right here. I could see an edge rusher. I think I could definitely see the Jets taking a defender here. I think I really like this pick, Jair Brown. I could see that, a safety. I think we're going to take him. I could definitely see. I think Jair Brown's a really good player. We'll look into his report. I know just watching Michigan games, he's not all that big, but he is a very solid player. They don't really give you much on him. Here we go. Usually they give you like comparisons. I guess not. Maybe I should have looked at this before. Everything's being like laggy here. This is the worst production in the planet. All right, we're gonna take Jair Brown. We're flying through this thing here. The Jets really don't have that many picks, so I think they have like maybe 2 more picks. All right, so I can't even look at team needs. I can't even look at who I have right now. But I think it's Njigba, Avila, and Jair. So those are the 3. So you got a safety, you got an offensive lineman, and you got a receiver. I think you go back to offensive tackle. Take a look here. Not really sure where you go from here. On the overall board, just take a look. probably don't need a center. They just got Connor McGovern back. I kind of forgot that. It's kind of funny that Connor McGovern got signed maybe 2 hours or a couple hours before the Rodgers trade, and not one person even mentioned it. What a steal, though. $1 million for 1 year. He made, I think, about $9 million last season, I want to say. So I don't see them getting an offensive tackle. I think they're committed to McGovern. I'm kind of surprised, though, because I thought they were going to go snag Ben Jones. Could still happen, but I think it's more unlikely now. I think at this point you probably take the best guy, either Kirkland or Jogwu. I think we'll take Kirkland just because he's big. He's 6'6", 328 for a tackle. I think you have to be big. I have read upon him in Washington, so guess we'll go take him. I think the last thing maybe is a defensive lineman, a D end maybe. Look at the big board here. Isaiah McGuire, solid. Colby Wooden. Now this is when it gets hard, and this is when it gets that it's not every guy on this board that I know who they are. And Roddy Bell, that's a interesting pick for the Jets, maybe if they don't get Najigba, which I don't think they will. I'm just going to keep saying that. I really don't think they will. We'll see. I could see a D tackle, maybe a Wooden, or what was the other guy I was looking at? Jackson Player. Let's get Wooden. Colby Wooden, 6'4", 273. He has a pretty good grade. I think this is a guy who you could try to rotate into the defensive line. Like they love to do that. You lost a guy already in Sheldon Rankins, so I would like this move for the Jets to at least address the defensive line, and I think that's it. I don't think the Jets got a pick in the 6th or 7th, so this was the quickest mock draft of all time. And let's take a look. Here we go. I'm going to take a picture of that so I can, post that if needed. But we got Najigba, Avila, Brown, Kirkland, Wooden. It's just terms of positions here. I don't think it's going to go in order, but offensive guard, offensive tackle, I think you at least got to address that position. And then the safety I mentioned, defensive line, and receiver. Again, I don't think Najigba is going to drop at 15, but if he did, my lord. And honestly, with the top 3 tackles taken with Wright or Najigba, I am taking Najigba. I'm going to take the high flyer pick on that and just have an insane wide receiver room with his former teammate Garrett Wilson, along with the others with Lazard, Corey Davis, and Hardman. Avila, I think, is going to be a great add. I'm not sure how flexible he is, or in terms of if he can go and switch to other positions. But I think that would be a nice move. Again, I've seen a lot of people even take offensive tackle with the 13th at the time. I haven't really seen many Jets 15th overall mock drafts anymore, and then take Avila in the 2nd round pick. That would be a solid, Wright and Avila, that could have been a very solid, move as well. But I think at that point, you take the best available at 15 if a dude like Najigba. Jair Brown, I already said, he's not the biggest guy, but I think he's a physical safety. They already added Chuck Clark, who I really like, also physical. So I really like that Jair Brown pick in the 3rd round. I'm not really sure where he's even projected to get drafted. And then go to Jackson Kirkland out of Washington, offensive tackle, and then Colby Wooden. So the Jets only have 5 picks in the 7 rounds. And I guess that is my mock draft. Pretty quick. And this is honestly, look at this, about almost 30 minutes. That's how long I kind of want to keep these podcasts so you don't fall asleep during it. But Aaron Rodgers is a freaking New York Jet, and the NFL draft is tomorrow. I'm going to try to put out a video here, maybe after the first round, hopefully Friday morning if I can. If I can't, I'm sorry. I will resume that on Monday. Maybe I'll just overall talk about the draft. Stay tuned. I will put out a video within the next few days about the NFL draft. I'm very excited. I wanted to go live for it, but I'm not really – I feel like I'd be too distracted. I really give everyone kudos of doing like live shows for the NFL draft, but there's a lot going on. I don't think I have the multitask ability to do that. So I will not be doing that. I just wanted to give you my mock draft, talk about Aaron Rodgers, let you know that I'm back. Please follow me here on YouTube. I usually get that done at the start, but hit that subscribe button rather. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Follow me on my social media platforms. You have seen it in the bottom, the entire video at Turn Up the Jets, all one word. You could find me on Twitter and Instagram, active on both. And, you know, hey, again, by the way, I'm going to say it one more time. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet. And everybody enjoy the NFL draft tomorrow in Kansas City. The Jets drafting 15th. Who knows what can happen? Anything can. So long.
Jets, I hear them say it now.
Jet, white, green, just green and white. Tell me, have you ever seen a team take flight? Super Bowl dreams are still in sight. All we gotta do is win tonight.